might have read some headlines. Zappos got rid of all managers and we're like a self-organized company. It's
Which I'd love to dive into.
Yeah, it's kind of nutso, but super exciting. But I think our team's really thinking about if you have a world of no managers, like what are the tools and process you need so it doesn't become like anarchy and chaos. So we're actually building some tools and process there. Like how do we really distribute authority throughout the company so it's not like a hierarchy of leaders or managers anymore. And we can go into that in gory details later. There's a couple startups really doing that well. I think we're, by order of 3, the biggest company to ever try this system. It's actually like a system that you can try that's documented. In a world of no managers, like how do people know if you're doing a good job or not? And so a big part of that is going to be peer reviews. I think that's one of the things in self-organization when I talk about the tools and process of how to self-organize. Peer review is a part of that. And I think the other interesting thing that was related to self-organization is as great as our call center was, and I think and Adam and I have worked with some people there really closely over the last almost year now. It was kind of still treated like a traditional call center. Like you're 5 minutes late, you get a point, and you get so many points, you're fired, right? They actually completely got rid of that policy, and that was in parallel with open market. So those two things is like chaos, right? Like no explicit like slap on the wrist if you're late, but now a bunch of flexibility. So I think we're still trying to figure out how those two play nice together. But the goal, what is great is Rob, who runs our call center, is like he gets rid of this attendance policy, and everyone's like, wait, what do you mean? Like I can just show up late, or I can just not show up at all? And people, when service level drops, like a lot of people are like, just put the attendance policy back. He's like, no, we're gonna figure this out as a company together. And so that's been really interesting. And I think a great thing about Holoxy is sometimes we just energize a lot of roles in a company, right? And that you want to do things that are outside of your title, and Holoxy lets that happen. I think a great example is, so I'm like lead still exists, and I won't go into all the gory detail. I'm still lead link of Zappos Labs, but I play a role, and I'll actually send out a link or tweet out a link after this that you can see all the roles I fill at Zappos. And probably where I spend a lot of my time are in 2 circles with Adam, actually. There's one called Teal Kit, like the tools and process to help us self-organize in the open market circle. And the lead of both of those circles is this amazing person named Danielle, who 6 months ago was working in our call center, or maybe 7 months ago was working in our call center. And Adam and I are we just contribute to her circles. And like she's, I don't know, like 23 and like amazing, but like that's where Holoxy lets leaders who are just natural just kind of be leaders, and it's not about titles. And I don't feel weird that I'm at service to her being a leader, and I think that's great. Part of Holoxy, there's this tool called Glassfrog, which is like how many people have had a dot in the org chart that was completely useless, right? Org charts generally just don't mean anything. Well, they mean so what's interesting is, right, what org charts represent is like power authority. It's just like I'm more important than you is all org charts represent. It doesn't mean like who gets work done. So what Glassfrog and Holoxy does is represents like hierarchy still exists, but it's a hierarchy of work. So like I'll send out a link to this. You can see my role. So I actually, in this hierarchy of work, like I played like 9 different roles all over the place. And I'm only a lead, I think, in one of these circles. And so like I said, I played project manager on open market. Adam was a product owner. On this Teal Kit thing, I'm called process integrator. So I'm acting like a systems analyst, essentially, like kind of talking to a lot of people, bringing stuff together. And it's just kind of fun. Like as part of Tony's message on April 30th, I think scared some people that were traditional managers was, if all you do is manage people, you need to start finding something else to do. And for me, I was super excited about that. Like I love managing people, but like, I think especially if you're a technologist, at your core, you're a builder, right? You want to start building things again. And that's what I'm super excited about. And then another weird thing on the no manager thing is like, as people are energizing work throughout the company, like if someone's like, for example, Adam working on open market over here, like I actually have no say on how Adam spends his time there at all. Because I'm only a lead link of Zappos Labs, but Adam also plays multiple roles. So again, it's super complicated, and it's why actually Holoxy is so hard at first. You'll read some headlines about it. And when we first started, we actually met with Obvious Corp, like who launched Medium, the ex-Twitter founders, and Evan was walking us through it, and he's like...
Ev Williams.
Yeah, Ev Williams, yeah. And he was like, best thing ever. I've never worked at, and he's obviously worked at tons of companies, Blogger, Twitter, Google, and he's like, I've never worked at an environment that's been so efficient. But he's like, it took us 6 months to get to that point, and they were only 30 people at the time. We're 1,500, and they were 30 people of, like, typical Silicon Valley people, like developers and stuff. Like, I don't know if Holacracy would ever been rolled out at like a 400 person call center before, but call center is doing great with it.